So on my channel, we've talked a lot about being a house flipper and a wholesaler and how lucrative being a real estate investor overall is. But I've also talked about how being a realtor can be a great side hustle or a career. But in today's video, I want to talk about a career that nobody on YouTube is talking about and how it can be even more lucrative than all of those. And this video was inspired by my friend Neil Dingra, who made $2.8 million last year as a loan officer. And I actually had him on my podcast, The Pineda Show, so definitely go check out that podcast after watching this video. I'll link to it down below. But I can tell you firsthand, there aren't many real estate investors or realtors making that kind of money. And we actually joked on the podcast that loan officers are the one thing that nobody really talks about. And it's dumb because they're involved in almost every single transaction. And the thing is, nobody really understands how to become a loan officer or what they're even making on a deal. So in this video, we're gonna answer all of those things. So if you're new to my channel, my name's Pineda. I'm a real estate investor here in Las Vegas, and we routinely do over 100 deals per year. This includes a mix of flipping, wholesaling, and buying rental properties. I also own a brokerage called Forever Home Realty, where we have over 100 realtors here in Las Vegas. So I've got a little bit of experience when it comes to doing real estate transactions. Now, one thing I want to do with my channel is help you become financially free with real estate investing. So I am going to actually be giving away one of my courses completely for free to one of you. All you got to do to qualify is subscribe to this channel and leave a comment below with your top questions that you want me to cover as it relates to real estate. I'm going to be hosting a live stream on YouTube where I answer those questions, and I'll actually be picking the winner during the live stream, so make sure you're subscribed. Anyways, let's jump into why being a loan officer or a mortgage lender is such a great career. As we talked about before, a loan officer is involved in almost every single transaction. Most people have to get a loan to buy a property, and this includes myself. On almost every single deal that we buy, I'm either using a conventional loan or a hard money lender. And then when I go to sell my flip, the person who's buying my home is typically using a loan as well. So loan officers are making money very frequently. But what makes being a loan officer a lot more appealing is the residual income after doing that one deal. You see, when I flip a house, the transaction is pretty much done. I'm not gonna make any more money on that deal, and it's on to finding a new deal. The same thing applies for a realtor. If they get a client who buys a house, as far as that house goes, they're pretty much done for the foreseeable future. Yeah, that client might sell that house later down the road, or they might end up buying another property, but for the most part, they're gonna be done for a while on that home. But with a lender, the purchase of the home is just when it's getting started. Lenders have the ability to do refinances throughout the life of home ownership. When I purchased my primary residence in 2018, I bought it with a normal conventional loan, which my lender got paid on. I ended up doing some improvements to the house, the market appreciated, and I ended up refinancing it about a year later. So in just 1 year, my lender got paid twice on that home. And so most people are refinancing yet again. Now for me, I might end up refinancing again because of these low rates. The only thing stopping me is the fact that I'm building a brand new home, so I don't necessarily plan on keeping this house forever. But the short story is, in less than 3 years of owning the home, the lender could have potentially been paid 3 times. And if you own a home, I'd love to hear in the comments how many times you've refinanced in the last 3 years. But on top of that, by doing the one deal with that lender, he's done about 30 different loans for me since. And that's from a mix of purchases and refinances. In fact, I've refinanced multiple properties multiple times, mainly because values are going up so much that I can pull more cash out. Interest rates are going down so I can get a cheaper payment. It just makes sense to refi. And the beauty is, for him to refinance me, he didn't have to go show me homes or make offers or negotiate with sellers. It was super simple. All I did was tell him I wanted to refinance and it was done. So the point is, if you build up your clientele as a loan officer, you can make a lot of money on just one person. And that's not to mention all the referrals I've given him as well. And I can tell you, over the years, between paying my hard money lenders and my conventional lenders, I've easily paid them millions of dollars. So if you're still with me, you probably are sold on being a loan officer. The question is, how do you do it? So let's go over the steps of how to become one. First thing you're gonna have to do is head over to the nationwide mortgage licensing system. This is also known as the NMLS. Once you're there, you're gonna end up clicking your state and seeing what the requirements are for that state. Now, the national test takes 20 hours, but each state may have some extra requirements on top of that. After passing the course, you'll then have to take the test. From what I'm told, the test is confusing and it's mainly just memorization. It's probably like every other test you took while you were in school. You just memorize stuff that you're never gonna actually use in the real world. And unfortunately, that's our school system. Honestly, I can't even remember the last test I took or what skills I learned in school that I really even apply today. But nonetheless, make sure you study for the test and pass it because it's the only way you can do business. And if you fail the test, you're gonna end up having to wait 30 days to retake it. So you better make sure you're ready. All of this will end up costing you about $800, potentially a little more depending on your state. Now, after you fail a couple of times, after you end up passing the test, I'm sure that nobody here watching this video is gonna fail, even though most people do fail it the first time. But once you actually pass it, you're gonna end up joining a company. It's very much like a real estate brokerage. You've gotta hang your license under someone else. So you could join a big bank like Chase or Wells Fargo or Bank of America, but they're gonna treat you more like an employee than an independent contractor. You're gonna pretty much handle what business comes through the bank, and they're gonna pay you a lot differently than if you were out on your own. So assuming you go out on your own, you're gonna end up joining another company that only specializes in loans. A really big company right now is Loan Depot. And ironically, the owner of Loan Depot just purchased the $25 million home that was just sold right next to my dream home that I'm building. So shout out to Loan Depot for giving me a good appraisal. And they didn't pay me for that, but they're definitely gonna help me on my refinance when I get my new appraised value. But anyways, all these companies have different structures for how they train new loan officers. I know that Quicken, who is the biggest lender in the country, has a training program dedicated to this. Also, side note, Rocket Mortgage, which Quicken owns, wanted me to do a YouTube series for their channel. I didn't end up doing it because I knew it was gonna take way too much time, but that is part of the reason why they're the biggest. They are constantly trying to figure out how to advertise and get in front of new customers. But nonetheless, you need to join a company that's gonna help train you up to be the best possible loan officer you can be. I highly suggest not worrying about the pay starting out and more so worrying about whether you're gonna have a good mentor or not at that company. A lot of people are concerned about how much commission they're gonna be making on a deal, how much the company's gonna end up taking. That is completely the wrong mindset when you're starting out. Pick the best mentor and pay your dues, whatever that cost. And then once you've got some experience and you do a bunch of deals, you can renegotiate or go branch off onto your own. But once you pick your company, you're pretty much done. All you gotta do is now go drum up some business and do some loans. The number one way that lenders end up getting leads is through realtors. Realtors are the ones who are already searching for the clients trying to buy homes. So if you could find some really good realtors that you could partner up with, they're gonna already provide the people for you. But if you want realtors to partner up with you, you better make sure that you're giving them great value as well. There are a ton of other loan officers who want their business. And one of the ways to provide value to them is to get clients of your own and refer them to the realtors. If you're helping pre-qualify people who don't have a realtor yet, you can now bring them to this realtor who's been bringing you business as well. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, you're still probably wondering, how the heck did Neil make $2.8 million? Like, what is this guy making per deal? Well, that's a loaded question. It really varies depending on the company, depending on the interest rates, what the market is doing, and then whether you're getting your own leads or not. But to give you a very general point of view, there's essentially 3% up for grabs on each transaction. 1% of that is going to the company. In this case, it would be Loan Depot like we talked about earlier. That's how they make money, is by taking a piece of every deal that all of their loan officers do. Another percent is going to be paid to the branch manager. So companies will have branch managers all across the country with their own offices. And the branch manager's job is to oversee all of the loan officers underneath them. They're essentially just like the broker of a real estate brokerage. And so to cover the overhead of their office and the staff and just the time it takes to train all of these loan officers and oversee them, they're compensated by getting 1% of all the deals that loan officers underneath them at their branch do. The last 1% goes to the loan officer. And so essentially this would be all you have to worry about, especially if you're just getting into the business. You're not going to be owning the company or being a branch manager. You're just a loan officer trying to do your deals. And so on your own leads, you could expect to make about 1%. Now, like I said, that's a very general point of view. It does not always work like that. There are a lot of factors that could change it. Every company is structured different. The fees might be reduced during a recession. If the branch manager gave you a lead, you might only make 0.5% on that deal. If you're brand new to the business, you might only make 1/4 or 0.5% in order to pay the cost of being mentored. But as I said, in the end, it's gonna be worth it once you get things going. After talking to multiple loan officers and branch managers, I fully believe it's easier to scale a loan officer business than it is a realtor business. You might be able to hit the ground running as a realtor sooner because you're going to be making more per deal. But over time, I think it's easier to scale as a loan officer. And then if you're able to become a branch manager down the road, you can make some serious money. Also, you might be wondering, where does the 3% come from as far as the transaction fee goes? Is that given straight to the buyer? And the answer is no. The mortgage company actually makes money by selling the loan to big companies like Wells Fargo and Chase, because those big companies know that over time they're gonna make a lot of money in interest, so they wanna get as many loans as possible. And so if you've ever done a refinance or used a lender, you might have seen that it got transferred to one of these banks. That's because they ended up selling the loan to them and thus made their profit. And really the only way that they could lose the profit is if the customer ends up selling the house or refinancing the loan before 6 months. If that ever happens, the company, the branch manager, and the loan officer all have to pay their commissions back. So if you ever do get a loan from somebody, do them the favor of keeping it for at least 6 months, then go and refinance it or sell your home. But anyways, that's how it all works, and that's why I believe it's one of the best kept secret careers of real estate. Not many people talking about it because most people don't understand how it works. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button and leave a comment below with your top questions that you want me to answer in my next live stream. You might win one of my courses completely for free. I'll catch you on the next one.